Hey, it's Mike, and we're back with another Game Creator 2 tutorial. This time I'm going to do the Create with Code, the basic gameplay. We're going to implement that in Game Creator 2. It's not the Endless Runner yet. That's coming in the Unit 3. But this one is basic gameplay, and we're going to start with Lesson 2.1, Player Positioning. So for this lesson, we need the Prototype 2 starter files. So click that and make sure your version is Unity 6 and click this to download it. And once you've got it downloaded, you can create a project. So I have a URP project created with Game Creator 2 core. The core module is all you need installed. And now we can import the assets from the package that we downloaded. All right, so if you have the Prototype 2 starter files, inside there is this Unity package. So let's open that and import that. So it imports into the course library. So you've got a variety of prefabs and animals and food. So there's a bunch of prefabs in here that we're going to be using. And they are already URP ready. So there's no need to run any converter on them. So once that's imported, you're ready. We're ready to get started. So next, we're going to add the player, animals, and food. So let's just drag some humans, animals, and food into the hierarchy. So the scene, we want to open this Prototype 2 scene first. And we can see what the camera setup is already done. There's already a camera, top-down camera setup. It's got a default texture on the environment here. On the ground, you can change that if you wish. You can make it one of these other ones, but the default is the grass. And then the only other thing is this left border and right border. Sure. Okay, so drag one human, 3 animals, and 1 food object into the hierarchy. So the food, we're going to take the pizza. One human. It doesn't matter which one. Let's do this one. Okay. Where's the pizza? It's inside the... So we want to move it so that we can see it. And 3 animals. So I'll take some forest animals. Moose, a fox, and we could do a rooster maybe. Okay, those are all on top of each other. So we want to reposition them so you can see them and rename this character to be player. I'll rename player. And then we gotta move these guys around. So there's your moose, the fox, and the rooster. They want you to scale up the food. So let's do that. So you can see it, easily see it. So I put it to like 3.5, I guess, and then you can see it at least. Maybe that's too big. Maybe 2.5. Okay, So next we got to get the horizontal input. So instead of creating a script, we're going to do this using Game Creator 2. So we want the horizontal input. So we'll unpack this player, and we're going to put the inside of it, we're going to do a empty child, and it's going to be the player controller. As they say, they've got a player controller script. So we are going to get access horizontal. So to do that, we're not using the old input system, we're using the new input system. So we want to create a new action here. And they're using, okay, we're going to use that, okay. Okay, so create a new action, and we're going to call it the horizontal. And this is going to be a value and an axis. So we have that, and then we want a new positive negative binding. Delete this one. And then we have the negative binding. We want to be the left arrow, and the positive binding, right arrow. So we got that. I'm going to save that. And then we need an input manager. So we'll create a trigger here. And I'll call it input manager. And on start, we want to enable the input map, input action. So we'll input actions, player, horizontal. So we're enabling it so we could use it. And then in the player controller, we can, they're using update, on update. They want to get the horizontal input. Based on the horizontal input, you multiply it by time dot delta time and speed and vector3 dot right. So we're going to try to do that. So first of all, we need some variables. So let's create a local name variable. Some local name variables. So we need the speed, and it's a number, and I'm going to set it to 10, and we're going to multiply it by time by delta time. So we're going to use like a speed mult variable as well. Number. Okay, and so what we want to do is multiply numbers. So we want speed times time dot delta time. So we're going to set the local name variable, speed mult, and we're going to have it be speed multiplied by time dot delta time. There we go. So that's that. And then we want to multiply that by the horizontal input. So we want another variable similar to speed mult, but we're going to call it speed input. So once again, Let's multiply numbers. And we'll set the speed input equals the speed mult multiplied by the input action. So that one, player, horizontal. So we'll get the horizontal input there. And then we want to translate or move position, change position of the player. And we want to add, and the value is going to be, we're going to move it in the x axis. So we want 0 and y, 0 and z, but x can be the variable speed input. So let's see if that works. And yes, it does. So left arrow and right arrow are moving the player back and forth. That's what we're looking for. And if we want to increase the speed, we could set that to 20 instead. Okay. So next, we want to add some code to keep the player inbound. So if the position goes less than -10, we want to set it equal to -10, and the other way around as well. So how far over do we want the player to go? -10. Oops, I got the wrong. So let's take a look. Yeah, -10 is here, +10 is over here. So that's good. And then, so we want to, did it accidentally create? We don't need that. Delete that. Okay. And so, yeah. So we want to use a check or run conditions. So let's create a conditions in here, and then we want if compare decimal, okay, position x. So you can get that from transforms, position x, the x component, okay, of this game object, which is player. So the x position, if it's less than -10, then we want to make it equal to -10. So let's do that. Change position of player, and then we're going to set it to -10. And then we will copy this for the next branch. if it's greater than 10, and then we'll copy this one and paste it into the instruction. Player set to 10. All right, let's see if this works. Well, we have to run the conditions. So we'll add that. Run conditions and drag in the conditions. See if that works. And it does work on that side, -10. But it doesn't work on this side. Why is that? Let's take a look. Okay, so we just have to, forgot to do this. So that should do it. All right, so now our player is constrained between -10 and +10. So that is done. So all they want to do now is, instead of hard coding the 10 and the -10, we want X range and negative X range. We can do that as well. So we can create a new variable called X range. Set that to a number. And it's going to be 10. And then here, if we're setting it equal to 10, that's going to be setting it equal to X range. Okay. And we want to compare it as well to X range. So if it's greater than X range, it will set it equal to X range. That's fine. That's the easy part. The hard part now is we want it to be negative. So we're going to compare it to negative X range, which we can now compare to and multiply decimals right here. So we want to multiply -1 times X range. So that's a negative X range. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Math, multiply -1, and then X range. Okay, so that should do it. X range there, X range, X range. Okay, so see if that still works. And it does. So that's how to set that to a variable. So you could change it just by changing this. So that is the end of this part, player positioning. Next video, we'll look at the food flight lesson, and we will see how to instantiate the pizza and make it fly. So stay tuned for that one, and we will be back in the next one.